Hi everybody, a total of 8 emails to and from the local MSP, Christine Grahame. The first time I wrote to her was after I'd received the message from Owen Thompson that because I lived in a different area, I had to contact my MSP rather than Owen, who represents the area that Dalkeith is in. So this is going back to the 4th of February 2020, and this is what Christine Grahame wrote. Dear Paul, my general observation is that where there may have been a miscarriage of justice and there is evidence support this, an application can be made to the Scottish Criminal Cases Review Commission. This may already have been done. Regards, Christine. So that's Christine Grahame, MSP, constituency member for Midlothian South, Tweeddale and Lauderdale. I wrote back the next day, Dear Christine, many thanks for getting back to me. The author of the book, Innocence Betrayed, Dr. Sandra Lean, sent me this. This was a message to a messenger group that I was in, along with the dude and a few others, including Sharon, and as I say, a few other people. Sandra wrote, Hi everyone, sorry I didn't get to this sooner. Luke's case went to the SCCRC, the Scottish Review Commission, in 2012, and they refused to refer the case to the Court of Appeals in 2014. The next development was the Miscarriages of Justice organisation, MOJO, Scotland, announced in 2016 that they were carrying out a full case review, but they failed to do so because they had neither the expertise or the manpower. I'm now trying to pull together a team to do the case review, but with very limited resources, it's a slow process. Luke has no legal representation at the moment. In the UK, if a case has no active proceedings, i.e. proceedings before the courts, there is no legal aid funding available. His family has no money to pay for any further input. The case and its aftermath destroyed his mother's business and left her penniless. So we're entirely reliant on pro bono goodwill participation. Hope that helps. And I added at the end, it's definitely Luke that needs all the help he can get. And as I never heard anything until I wrote to her again after the documentary came out. So this was the response that I got from Christine Grahame. This is over a year later. Dear Paul, as Owen has advised, we have a robust review system in the SCCRC, wholly independent of the High Court of Appeal. Indeed, if it finds there may have been a miscarriage of justice and it refers the case to the High Court of Appeal, then it must accept it. His was, of course, referred to the SCCRC, and they determined that there had been a breach of his human rights, but there had not been a miscarriage of justice. I find that hard to believe because they only look at the procedural thing. They look if things were procedurally barred and things were done wrong. If further new evidence comes to light, another referral to the SCCRC can be made. Now, I'd written to her about the integrity review units that they have in a lot of states in America, and she wrote that I do not support a separate additional system of inquiry, which I note has been suggested, though I am happy to forward this to the Cabinet Secretary for his views. Best regards, Christine. So I wrote back to her. So this is sort of where we left off on the last time I read you some emails. Many thanks for your extremely prompt response. I have just turned 56 years of age. I had never previously contacted a politician about anything that concerned me till last year, when I wrote obviously to the various MSPs. What happened to Jodie Jones was horrific, but what is being perpetrated against Luke Mitchell being buried alive by a system that reminds me of the foxes looking after the chicken run and the rats guarding the cheese is merely an illusion of justice. He needs a truly independent review. Luke was prosecuted, convicted, and is being continually denied justice on behalf of the public. I cannot subscribe to this injustice being perpetrated in my name. Please review your stance. So the follow-up on Monday, got a reply back. So I wrote to her again on Monday. So I did a follow-up because I hadn't heard anything. And I put, once again, I am writing to you about this obvious miscarriage of justice. I would ask you to engage with your fellow politicians and set up an all-party committee to review this case. It is axiomatic who the real perpetrator of this murder is. Please stop procrastinating on this issue. And wrote back same day, the Scottish Parliament goes into recess next week for the upcoming election, so business is being concluded and winding down. There is therefore no opportunity to do anything in what remains of this session of Parliament. To which I replied the same day, so once this recess is over, can we look forward to seeing the reels of injustice turning slowly on Luke's case? Are you, like many thousands of us who are no longer blinded by the ridiculous headlines from the Daily Record and the Scottish Sun, interested in searching for the truth, or just content to hide behind the illusion of justice that has been delivered in the reviews that Luke has had to suffer thus far? Will you support us in calling for a completely independent review of this case, similar to that which was eventually afforded to the victims of the Hillsborough disaster, but which also took a ridiculous amount of time to be granted? And got a reply back later on in the afternoon. Dear Paul, it is unfortunate timing to ask MSPs to do something now as the parliamentary timetable is set in legislation and this session of 5 years concludes on the 25th of March. Currently, I am dealing with closing both my Parliament and local office and having equipment, etc. removed and stored together with Parliament sitting late dealing with legislation. Then there is an election and the new session resumes in September. There will be new MSPs and they have to be allocated offices, put on committees, find and set up local offices and so on, and employ staff to deal with cases. All of this, you will appreciate, takes time. Thereafter, it is for members of the new session to decide which campaigns to support. At that stage, if re-elected, I will have time to consider what I wish to do. I trust this explains. So it seems to me as if we've got the ideal opportunity now, between now and the election and then the new MSP starting, to really make a lot of noise about this case and to actually ask, when politicians are asking for our support, make a point of asking them, where do you stand on this separate review, this independent review that we're asking for in Luke's case? They did it eventually for Hillsborough, and that's what we want. We want them to actually look at the evidence. The more you dive into this, the more, like the investigators in the documentary realised, Luke, nothing to do with it. It's clear who the main suspect is. Anyway, I think that's all I've got time for today. For those of you that are interested in the Making a Murderer stuff, then obviously Saturday we'll have both the live chat with Pete Dassey and then the live presentation by McGilla. And on Sunday, I'm really looking forward to this one as well. It's a second visit by Michael Cicchini, writer of the convicting Avery, the bizarre laws in Wisconsin that convicted him, and obviously he wrote a book about Brendan's case. But he's going to address the subject of Ken Kraft's in closing arguments. Reasonable doubt is for innocent people. And you can't help but see the similarities between Steve's case and Luke's case. I would say less so with Brendan's. Brendan's was a confession. Luke, no way, is going to confess. But isn't it interesting how, in the same way that Stephen Avery has always maintained his innocence and has always maintained the fact that, yes, Kathleen Zellner, you do whatever you can, you test whatever you can, do everything under the sun to test. Now, somebody that's guilty will not want that type of testing done. As I say, what Luke wants is an independent review of the evidence. And that will clearly show why this conviction is false. If he was guilty, he would not be wanting. He would not be wanting it to be reviewed. Anyway, we'll catch you all again soon. Bye for now.